What is Patuxent High School currently doing to prepare for the hybrid learning rollout?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that question. There's a lot of planning and logistical moves that happen behind the scenes that, probably you and some others might not see. So we're constantly running reports. Number one, to see specifically how many students are going to be in the building. So like students and parents have had some options as to what their plans are to return to school. You can be full virtual, or you can be hybrid, which is a combination of being virtual and here in school. So we're doing a lot of safety planning, a lot of logistical planning to make sure that when everybody comes back, number one, everybody is safe. That's priority number one, to keep you guys safe. But then the next thing that we have to do is to make sure that when you guys are here in the building, that you have an optimal environment to receive instruction. So that's what we're planning, a lot of safety and instructional logistical maneuvering to make sure that kids come back and we're safe, you and teachers, and that everybody has, an optimal condition to be successful upon return.
How many students will be on campus for classes starting March 9th, if I may ask?
All right, I'm glad that you asked that, because I'm gonna go to my go-to person that has those numbers, Miss Harris, because sometimes those numbers change and it can change from week to week. Miss Harris, what's our current number for A week, B week?
A week is gonna be,
I think it's like 289 or 291.
288.
288 for A week, and then for B week, we're looking at
285.
285. So the cohorts are A week and B week, based on the number of kids that we have in the building. So give or take, we're at about just under 300 for A week and B week.
That's definitely a size in comparison, I suppose.
I would agree, brother.
What are the administrative team's expectations of returning students, if I may ask?
Well, Patuxent's in a unique situation because of just our relationship with you guys. We know that if we ask a thing, generally that's what you guys do. So there's going to be a lot of things specific for safety that we're going to ask you. Number one, you got to have your mask on all the time.
Absolutely.
That's number one. You got to have the mask on. Got to maintain appropriate distance to keep each other safe in the hallways. I'm going to give you guys some specific outlines about getting off the bus and getting to classes, how we dismiss, a lot of logistical things that will happen throughout the day that we think, each, as you guys come back to school, we can start to tell you specifically how the day will look. It's going to look very different. We're happy to have you back, but the day is going to look a lot different than what you've been accustomed to. But, we feel pretty good about whenever we ask you guys stuff, you acquiesce and do what we need to make sure, because you know that it's in your best interest. So upon your return, there'll be some specific things that we'll ask day in and day out, but the general expectation is just for safety.
What type of disciplinary action can result for not wearing a mask or following distancing guidelines?
Well, that's good that this comes into the next question, because you'll get some general warning about wearing your mask and social distancing. But if you can't meet that expectation, then you're putting other people in danger. And if you're putting somebody in danger, we're going to say, hey, thanks for playing. Good luck. But you're going to be asked to stay home. So like a lot of people want the opportunity to be here, to be in school. And our expectation is going to be wear your mask and maintain social distance. And so I guess the disciplinary action that you're talking about is going to be those people that can't meet that expectation and put people in danger, they're going to go home.
Looking ahead to the fall semester, in your opinion, will we have a typical start to the school year, or will we be starting in hybrid? That's probably the biggest question.
All right, here's my gut feeling on that. Now, I won't say this specifically because I'm not the person that gets to make that call. But I think that this process with you guys coming back now, and us working through teachers and some professional development with how to use the technology and getting people used to this environment, is that my gut feeling is, I think to start the year, we may start something similar to this, because I can't foresee us being in a situation, even I'm happy about the vaccines, I'm happy with people kind of following CDC protocols, but it'd be kind of hard for me to think that we could put 1,100 kids back in the building safely to start the school year. So like, I don't think it'll last that whole time, but don't quote me on that. But my gut feeling is that we will start off something similar. I hope not. I hope that things work out well. This plan that we have in place, they see that we have good safety protocols in place, that you guys are meeting the expectation and kids acquiesce and do the things that we need, and everybody comes back. But my gut feeling on it is I don't know that we can safely bring back 1,100 kids in the way that we used to do things.
In fact, I have a quote that I would like to end it with today.
I'd like to hear that quote, Nate.
Plans change from time to time.
That is accurate. Plans change from time to time. Our stuff changes every day, unfortunately. But we've got a good team. We've got a good staff. We've got good kids. And so whenever those things change, we're good with it too.
As reported by the LA Times on February 10th, 2021, thousands of people are protesting the control of the militia in Myanmar, a country located to the east of India. Protests like these have been popping up across the country in recent weeks in response to the military coup taking over the country's civilian government on February 1st. This powerful military group has taken control of the country and terrorized the people, removing representatives in positions of power and replacing them. Ethnic minorities in Myanmar coordinated the staff at 70 hospitals to go on strike to protest the coup. In the heat of a pandemic, these people stopped the nurses and doctors from doing their job on the front lines because these people are fighting for their freedom. Most recently, tens of thousands of people across Myanmar stopped their cars on main roads and claimed that they were broken down so that protests in the cities would not be met by the military force because they wouldn't be able to get through the cars on the road. These people are risking their lives to support the rights of the country, similar to the situation brought to light 2 weeks ago between China and Taiwan, where the Taiwanese people would not be able to defend themselves against the military power of China. Following up on the tension between China and Taiwan, there was a shipment of COVID vaccines that were denied from entering Taiwan by China. Two countries are letting their political conflicts take priority over the lives of their people. This is a clear example of world leaders becoming power hungry. There's no reason why Taiwan should not be allowed access to the vaccine, especially if China is shipping vaccines to Zimbabwe. The reason why I want to bring light to these issues is that I'd like you to compare these circumstances to that of our problems in the United States. Put yourself in the place of these people, under control by a military group that has abolished your representation in government and taken complete control over your country. And turn around and consider the issues that we as a country have been facing from a political standpoint. Is it really that bad? Right now, it is especially important to work together as a group. The whole planet is fighting the same enemy right now, and there's no need to turn against each other. The people of the United States should recognize and appreciate that things are not as bad as they could be. Stay home and fix the public health crisis before things get worse. And just wear a mask.
The charges have been dismissed against Amy Cooper, the white woman who made national headlines last year when she told police that a black birdwatcher in Central Park was threatening her and her dog. The case was dropped after she completed a counseling program, prosecutors said Tuesday. Cooper was facing a misdemeanor charge of falsely reporting an incident to police after prosecutors said she twice called 911 claiming that Christian Cooper was threatening and tried to attack her. Christian Cooper said he asked the woman to leash her dog in an area of the park that requires dogs to be on leashes. He filmed the incident and posted it on Facebook. The video went viral and led to Amy Cooper being fired from her asset management company. The incident occurred the same day George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis as a white police officer pressed his knee onto Floyd's neck. Video of Floyd's death was also first shared on social media and sparked months of unrest across the country demanding racial justice and changes to policing. Cooper apologized shortly after the video of the incident spread on social media, but her employer Franklin Templeton fired her the next day. The video garnered national media attention, and the New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio condemned Cooper's actions, saying they exemplified hatred that has no place in our city. In a statement on Tuesday, Cooper's lawyer, Robert Barnes, thanked the DA for dismissing the charges against him. The charges being dropped raises a question. Was psychoeducation and therapy programming enough for Amy Cooper's actions to just be dismissed? A crime such as racially motivated false police report just to be dropped like that? Amy Cooper said, "An African-American man is threatening my life," and she repeated that he was black several times. Although no arrests were made at the time, prosecutors said that the call could have endangered Christian Cooper. Certainly he would have been held forcibly if he resisted, Assistant District Attorney Joanne Aluzzi said Tuesday. Needless to say, hopefully Amy Cooper learned something from her therapy sessions. If not, a crime just went by unresolved.
If you're a rookie driver looking for some Hot Wheels, here are 3 routes you can use to buy a used car. Number 1, you can have a family member or friend old car and use it until you buy your own car. Number 2, you can pay for your car that is under $5,000 and have your parents pay for insurance. Number 3, or just take a solo route and buy a car and pay for insurance and gas on your own. Now here are some car ideas that I have for a first car. Number 1 is a 2007 Infiniti G35 Caidin. It costs about $2,500 to $4,500 with 306 horsepower. Number 2 is a 2007 BMW 335i that costs $1,200 to $4,900 with 300 horsepower. Number 3 is a 2000 Mazda MX-5 Miata that costs $350 to $2,700 with 140 horsepower.
One month and 1 week after the events that unfolded on January 6th, former President Donald Trump has been acquitted. President Trump was on trial for inciting and instigating the events that unfolded during the Capitol raid. After passing the House, the impeachment moved on to the Senate. In the voting process, a majority of senators voted to impeach Trump, 57 for and 43 against, but they did not reach the supermajority threshold of 67, a 2/3 majority. Among the senators voting to impeach, 7 of them were members of the GOP. Senator Mitt Romney of Utah was one of these senators. After the acquittal, he stated, "President Trump is guilty of the charge made by the House of Representatives, and that Trump attempted to corrupt the election by pressuring the Secretary of State of Georgia to falsify the election results in his state, and incited the insurrection against Congress during the counting of electoral votes." Mitt Romney was the only senator of the Republican Party to vote to impeach Trump during his first trial a few months prior. What held many of the senators back from voting to impeach was the belief that it was unconstitutional to convict a former president. 44 of these senators voted so earlier in the week. They believed that the president did not intentionally cause his followers to raid the Capitol, but had his words misinterpreted. Trump's attorney stated that these are metaphorical, rhetorical uses of the word fight. We all know that, right? Suddenly, the word fight is off limits? Spare us the hypocrisy and false indignation. It's a term used over and over and over again by politicians on both sides of the aisle. The argument he made was enough and allowed President Trump to be acquitted, still leaving him the opportunity to run again in 2024. These results have created mixed feelings across America, from late-night hosts saying that they blew the impeachment to many Americans crudely dubbing Trump a back-to-back champ. And no matter your opinions on the trial, what's done is done. Trump was acquitted, and whether that is good news or bad news to you, the best thing to do is to leave it in the past where it belongs and move on to bigger and better things for the country. And who knows, if Trump wins presidency again, maybe he'll get another shot at impeachment. Third try is a charm after all.